You look around the room. You know it needs cleaning. You've known for days, maybe weeks. But something stops you every single time. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. And the mess just stays. This isn't laziness. It's something much deeper.
What if the clutter around you isn't a reflection of your character, but a signal from your nervous system? What if your brain is literally blocked from starting? In the next few minutes, everything you thought you knew about this is going to shift.
Psychology has a lot to say about why some people struggle to clean, and almost none of it is about laziness. It's about stress, shame, childhood patterns, and how your brain processes overwhelm. Let's go through 7 reasons. You'll probably recognize more than one.
Sign 1, nervous system shutdown. When your brain is in a state of chronic stress, it enters something called low-grade freeze. It's not dramatic. You're not paralyzed. You're just stuck. You can think about cleaning. You can plan it. You can even feel guilty about not doing it. But the moment you try to start, something shuts down. Neuroscientists call this executive dysfunction. The brain's ability to initiate tasks simply goes offline under prolonged pressure. And here's what makes it worse. The mess itself becomes an additional stressor, which deepens the freeze. It's not a character flaw. It's your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect you.
Sign 2, shame creates paralysis. There's a cruel irony at the heart of this. The more ashamed you feel about the mess, the harder it becomes to clean it. Shame doesn't motivate, it freezes. When you look at a cluttered room and your first thought is, "What is wrong with me?" your brain doesn't hear a call to action, it hears a threat. And it responds to threats by shutting down, avoiding, or distracting. The mess becomes proof of something you already feared about yourself, so you look away. You close the door. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later, because facing it means facing that feeling.
Sign 3, childhood environment as default setting. Your brain decided what normal looks like before you were old enough to question it. If you grew up in a chaotic or cluttered home, your nervous system calibrated to that environment. Disorder didn't feel wrong, it felt familiar. And familiar feels safe, even when it isn't. As an adult, you may unconsciously recreate that environment, not because you want to, but because it's the baseline your brain returns to under stress. Some people keep their homes immaculate for the same reason. Control was how they survived childhood. Either way, your relationship with clutter started long before you had any say in the matter. Sign 4, decision fatigue and mental load. Cleaning isn't one task, it's hundreds of micro-decisions happening in rapid succession. Where does this go? Do I keep it or throw it out? What do I do with this pile? For a brain already running on empty, already making thousands of decisions every day about work, money, relationships, food, this is genuinely too much. Decision fatigue is real and well documented. By the time you get home at the end of the day, your prefrontal cortex, the part that plans, organizes, and initiates, is running on fumes. Cleaning requires exactly the mental resources you have the least of when you need them most.
We're halfway through, and if any of this is landing for you, good. That recognition is important, because most people who struggle with cleaning have spent years believing something was fundamentally wrong with them. They've tried the productivity hacks, the cleaning schedules, the motivational videos, and still the mess returns. What we're doing here is going deeper, looking at the roots, not the symptoms. The next signs get even more specific. Some of them might be uncomfortable, but understanding them is the first step towards something actually changing. Stay with me, because what comes next might be the piece you've been missing.
Sign 5. Depression and energy depletion. Depression doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like a sink full of dishes that's been there for 2 weeks. Like laundry on the floor you've stepped over so many times you stopped seeing it. When depression is present, even at a low, functional level, the brain's reward system goes quiet. Things that should feel satisfying simply don't. The dopamine hit that a clean room should provide never arrives, so the motivation to create it never builds. Energy is rationed for survival. Everything beyond the bare minimum feels impossible, and the mess accumulates, quietly, steadily, as an external record of an internal exhaustion that nobody else can see.
Sign 6. ADHD and the invisible wall. For people with ADHD, diagnosed or not, there is something called the wall. You can see the task. You understand it needs to be done. You might even want to do it. But between intention and action, there is an invisible barrier that willpower alone cannot cross. ADHD affects the brain's dopamine regulation in ways that make boring, repetitive tasks like cleaning nearly impossible to initiate without external pressure or genuine interest. It's not about trying harder. The trying is already happening. What's missing is the neurological bridge between wanting and doing. And for millions of people, that bridge was never built the way it was for others. Sign 7. The mess as emotional container. This one is the least obvious and possibly the most important. For some people, clutter isn't just the result of not cleaning, it's serving a function. Psychologists have observed that physical mess can act as an unconscious emotional container, a way of externalizing internal chaos that has nowhere else to go. If your inner world feels overwhelming, unresolved, or out of control, your outer space may begin to mirror it. Cleaning, then, feels threatening because bringing order to the outside means confronting the disorder within. The mess becomes a kind of armor, invisible even to the person wearing it, until the day it becomes too heavy to carry. All 7 of these reasons share something in common. None of them are about laziness. None of them are about not caring. They are all, in different ways, about a nervous system doing its best under conditions it wasn't designed to handle indefinitely. Modern life produces chronic stress at a scale that is genuinely new in human history. We were not built for this volume of input, decision, pressure, and disconnection. The home, which should be a place of restoration, becomes instead another arena of failure, another thing we're not doing right. Understanding this doesn't fix everything, but it changes the conversation you have with yourself, and that matters. Think about how long you've carried this. The quiet embarrassment when someone calls unexpectedly, the way you close a door before anyone can see inside, the internal monologue that runs on loop. I should clean. Why haven't I cleaned? What is wrong with me? That voice has been loud for a long time, and it has been wrong for just as long. You were never lazy. You were overwhelmed. You were frozen. You were carrying more than anyone could see, including yourself. The mess was never the real problem. It was always the signal. And now, for the first time, you know what it was trying to tell you. So what do you actually do with all of this? First, stop trying to clean the whole space. That approach activates overwhelm immediately. Instead, pick one surface, one corner, one drawer. not because it will fix everything, but because your nervous system needs a small win to start rebuilding the connection between intention and action. Second, address the stress load, not just the mess. If your nervous system is in freeze, the clutter is a symptom. Treat the root: sleep, movement, less input. Third, notice the shame narrative and interrupt it. You are not your apartment. You are not your clutter. You are someone learning to understand themselves better.
Change in this area rarely looks dramatic. It doesn't happen because you finally found the right organizing system or watched the right video. It happens slowly as the underlying conditions shift. As stress decreases, even slightly, the nervous system softens. As shame loses its grip, action becomes possible again. Some people find that therapy, particularly somatic or trauma-informed approaches, creates more movement on this issue than any cleaning strategy ever did. That's not a coincidence. The body holds the freeze. In the body is where the thaw begins. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need one small thing to be different today than it was yesterday.
Take a moment right now. Seriously, just pause. Think about your own space, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Which of these 7 reasons felt true for you? Was it the nervous system shutdown, that low-grade freeze you've never had a name for before? Was it the shame spiral that makes starting feel impossible? The childhood baseline you never chose? Or something quieter? The clutter is armor. The mess is a mirror. You don't have to answer out loud, but knowing which route is yours changes everything about how you approach it. Self-knowledge isn't just interesting. In this case, it might be the most practical tool you have.